The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 15th day of August, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Teray Hall. And hopefully today we'll be having a special guest on. But Teray, it's 2 days in a row for you.
Yeah, I'm feeling big time.
Yeah. What's it like waking up early to do this?
You know, I wake up early regardless. I typically work out at 6 a.m. I haven't been able to do that because I'm on the show. But this isn't it isn't a disruption in my normal routine.
Okay. So, folks, when she's unable to run that marathon next year, she's going to say, well, Daily Hour interrupted my morning workout routine. Yeah.
You know, I don't think a marathon is in my future yet. I typically just do yoga or Pilates or something.
Okay. All right. We're not going to see her coming through, going for gold as of yet.
Well, you will be going for gold, right, Jamal? All 6'2" of you?
See, we're getting somewhere to it. See how easy that is. Where's Sherry too? See how easy that is, Look, Charles is throwing shade. Said, I thought it was a repeat from yesterday morning, you lot. See, seeing you 2 days in a row, he just thought, how'd that happen? Yeah. Well, in fairness, Teray, like a trooper, she wasn't gonna be on yesterday. I asked last minute, so she made herself available for all of you out there. Look at that. Yeah.
I also have fun too. I'm not just, I love it.
Yeah, she had fun too. Well, it's not. We're over Hump Day. Unfortunately, a lot of people usually like getting over Hump Day and heading towards a weekend, but unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have some bad weather this weekend. So a lot of people who had plans, their plans have changed now. Yeah.
What do people have planned?
They were going to the Connie game and they were going to a slow jam part. Well, let me be clear, because I'm only going off what I saw on the internet. Yeah. And Mr. Musk's internet in particular. So yeah. Charles, I guess Charles is voting for Teray. He says we'll be running the country one day. Future's bright. Yeah. Actually,
that's a nice thing to say. I don't know how I feel about the pressure, though.
Well, hey, take it as it comes. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today, as we are hoping to welcome Sir John Swan on. He's a national hero, most recently an independent candidate. So we're looking forward to having Sir John, hopefully just dealing with some technical things in the backside. The Daily Players, name that place today.
Okay. Name that place. Like geography?
You got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that give me a point?
You're doing this Sherry Sancha thing. We're looking for points. Okay. Don't let those two influence you. But no point. You'll get the answer today.
Okay.
You'll get the answer.
Let's see.
Audience, do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Let's jump into a question, though. This is a time in Bermuda where, we I don't know. I mean, as we get older, I guess we take it more seriously because we have belongings, responsibilities. But Bermudians are preparing for a storm. And I
Mhm.
guess the question this morning, not fun so much, but really just asking people, how do you prepare for a hurricane? Like, Teray, you've been in hurricanes before, correct?
Yeah.
Look, people ask me that. I got to make sure you might have been traveling when hurricanes were happening. I don't know.
You want to know a funny story, actually? My first year of university was online, and a hurricane had come right at that time. So my first year of university was actually during hurricane season. So,
So hold on. Had it not been online and you were able to, go off to school, you would have missed the hurricane.
mhm.
Yeah, that sounds like me. 2003. My school didn't go into until October, and Fabian came in September, and yeah, it's one of the scariest. I mean, Emily in '87. I'm done aging, not aging myself, but Emily in '87 was pretty scary. But
Mhm.
hurricane in 2003, Fabian, man, I had the ground shaking. I was like, what is happening here? But no, they can be scary things. But audience, listen, but we're planning on having Sir John on. So here's the question of the morning: is what role, Teray? What we're asking, what role do people believe independent candidates play in improving Bermuda? Like, what role do
Mm.
independent candidates play in improving Bermuda? And here's an even more fair question, because this came up where in the by-election, many people were like, why would I vote for an independent candidate? Like, that's one voice. They're not going to be able to influence the other voices they need to make things happen, right? So would you consider voting for an independent candidate? Yes or no? Would you consider voting for an independent candidate? Yes or no? Well, what are your thoughts? I mean,
My options are always open. I try
mhm,
not to be like, I have one voting strategy. I try to keep myself open
mhm,
and responsive to the political climate.
mhm.
So, would I consider voting for an independent candidate? Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Would you?
Teray, I'm a policy guy. I'm not voting for or against anyone in terms
Mm,
of personality. I know in the US, you and I had a private conversation earlier this year when I was in Toronto. It's easy to say I'm voting against Donald Trump, but what I'm not going to do is make it easy and vote for Kamala Harris, right? I can't. My conscience won't allow me to do that. I need to know what your policies are. What are you working with? Um, I think Black people, especially,
mm,
have given their votes up so easy for donkey's years, right? And that's in Bermuda context. I think we just kind of go with trends of how Black people are voting at the time, which I think is disgusting, stupid, sad. That's just my opinion. Um, I'm not, I don't think, I'm not scared to vote for an independent candidate. No, I think at the end of the day, if you're unhappy with the people, the parties representing you, then
mm.
do you really have another choice? So one of the things I learned in my first US election that I participated in is, and I've
When
said
was
this
it?
before,
2008, 2016?
no, 2 years ago, what was that? 2022.
Oh, 20.
Um, and there's much more people on the ballots
Yes.
than
Yes.
we see. So it's not just going to be Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on the ballot. Like, there's going to be people who represent you and your ideologies. But the challenge is, especially with Black people, we say, oh, well, a vote for that person is a vote for Trump. But is it? Because I feel like we want instant gratification. We're not willing to work and build toward. I mean, using the PLP, it took 30 years before they eventually became government. I mean, some people may see that as a good or bad thing. My point is, you got to start and build from somewhere, right?
You do. And I think on this particular issue, especially in the States, of whether a vote not for Kamala Harris is a vote for Trump, I do believe that to be the case, especially now. So I think that there are certain political climates where independent candidates can chip away from people like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. And that's when me as a person, I probably would not vote for an independent candidate when stakes are so high. and it could go anyway, like those swing voters. So I feel like it really just depends on the context.
Or the individual?
For me, I think the context matters a little more because I'm okay to do like a proximity vote, whereas I vote for the person who's closest to my views, even if that means that I'm sacrificing my ideal candidate.
Mm. You know, former Premier Paula Cox once said something similar to me. I didn't buy it. I couldn't. At that time, we were fighting conscription, and she and others were saying, "Oh, that's just one issue." Yeah, that one issue is worth what maybe 10,000 issues to others. And again, this is the great thing about being human and supposed democracy, because I don't know how the electoral college is democracy yet, but that's another show. Even in Bermuda's context, I mean, democracy, but yet we have a governor that's appointed. So I get it. But let's check with the audience, see what they think. Would you consider voting for an independent candidate? And what role do you believe independent candidates play in improving Bermuda? Auntie S says yes. He vote for an independent candidate. John Smith says yes. Okay. We've got Shamari Talbot Warrior says Green Party's fault is the don't organize outside the presidential elections. Oh, I got it. He's saying the Green Party, their problem is that they don't organize unless it's a presidential election, meaning they just show up every 4 years. I think that's his point. Yeah.
Also, the challenge is the Green Party, when you're a singular voting, like when you have a singular voter issue, you can isolate your base and not attract people. Like when you have a singular issue, some people just don't care about it. Some people do. So it's unlikely that you'll make like these huge gains in the voter column.
Indeed. That makes a lot of sense. What's the lady? Is it Jill Stein? What is her name? Jill Stein. She runs for president. She's like Ross Perot to me. I don't know if you remember Ross Perot, like literally just threw his head in the ring every 4 years, it seems, right? Shamari, thank you for that. He says yes, that's what he meant. All right. Would you consider voting for an independent candidate? And what role do you believe independent candidates play in improving Bermuda? Like, what role do they play to you all? Do you think they have a chance of representing your voice? Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, yes, I would have voted for Sir John, as I believe he has what it takes to keep the government and opposition accountable. I wouldn't vote for an independent candidate just to vote for them. Well, I think voting for anyone just to vote for them is doing yourself a disservice, right? I mean, there are people who do that. They would vote for a rock. You've heard it said. Look,
who would do that?
The United States is a crazy country, right? It is. Let's call it what it is. You do remember the report some years ago about a cat being voted mayor in a small town in Middle America.
I don't remember that.
Oh, look it up. Audience, I know you remember that story about a cat being voted mayor. Look, you would think there would be some eligibility requirements, like the person has to at least speak, right? Know how to speak. And also the have to be human. I mean, or is that discrimination against life on other planets?
Well, we're not going there. we're not going there. Okay. I don't think it's discrimination. I think, to be honest, those things are kind of, funny to laugh at. But I feel like it's important to have those reminders of like that we need that, like we're just human. Like, although we have these grand theories of democracy and governments and systems, I think, to be honest, that can serve as a reminder that all of this stuff is really made up. It's important, but made up nonetheless. So I feel like in a weird way, it can keep us humble.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting conversation. I mean, people your age, Teray, have only really known outside of 5 years, one government in Bermuda, right?
Yep.
That's all you've known. Growing up, all I knew was one government. So I think we have probably very different outlooks. Like for me, as when I was growing up, the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party, the PLP, which is the governing party today, was known as the party for Black people and the struggle. I'm not sure how, other generations under me look at them, but I'm not quite sure that younger people will see them that way anymore, because I mean, number one, some may feel like they've been contributing to their struggle.
Yeah, I feel like there's both of that in my generation and also me personally. I feel like the PLP is still very much known as the Black Party, and perhaps one of like for struggle into combat struggle. But there's some fissures, like there's some really deep cracks in the way people perceive the PLP. So I feel like it's both, because I know that there are some people who are within the PLP, not within like the party, but who perceive the PLP as good things, like as a good actor with bad apples. So it's kind of it's hard to say.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, audience, on that? What are your thoughts? Keep them coming. Would you consider voting for an independent candidate, and what role do you believe independent candidates play in Bermuda? What is Suzanne is coming swing? She says that's utter foolishness. A cat at human. What she's referring to is that small town in the U.S. that voted for a cat. I get it. I get it, Teray. I think, I mean, how can I say this nicely? There are some people who like dogs better than they like people. Some people who trust animals more than they trust people. I mean, I don't want to say that people are crazy or silly or whatever for voting for a cat, because at the end of the day, I say this respectfully. If you would have asked me last year, who'd I rather vote for of the current, the choices I had, I probably would have said a rock, because you all pressured me and bullied me into saying that my ancestors fought for me to vote, so I have to vote. But if that's the case, I probably wouldn't have voted for anyone. I'm talking about Bermuda context, by the way, in that respect.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard, I think.
Yeah. Let's go back to the comments. Sean Smith says, I believe they can really give the voters a voice without any repercussion from party whips or leaders. So he's referring to, what role do you believe independent candidates play in improving Bermuda politics? It's interesting, Tori, because I don't know what you hear in your circles, but I hear in my circles, look, they're only one voice. Like, how are they really going to make a difference? How are they going to bring about the change that's needed? Like, they don't have any power to really change anything or push legislation or policies. I mean, that doesn't mean they can't represent you and push the agenda, right?
Yeah, and I think they can push the agenda in a direct way, which I think is going to be tremendously hard in a Westminster system. But I feel like the most immediate kind of implication for an independent candidate running and gaining traction is that the main parties are forced to respond and forced to react to voter needs. So even if an independent candidate isn't successful, the voters can still have benefit insofar as the party may be more likely to change their position, to change the people that they put in a constituency, because they're responding to this pressure from an independent candidate who can seriously chip away at their base.
Interesting. Well, let's bring Sir John in a bit early, but again, audience, what role do you believe independent candidates play in improving Bermuda politics? And Michael Daniels says, I believe that Bermuda could benefit from a broader demographic of the local population. Sir John can attract a demographic that could be beneficial. Indeed. Well, we're going to have a conversation with Sir John. I've got a short daily hour news break for you this morning, as you can probably tell what we're going to discuss. But let's do the daily hour news break. Then we'll take a commercial break, and we'll bring Sir John Swan in for a conversation. Teray, how do you feel about having a conversation with Sir John? I mean, this is only your third show with us.
I'm really excited. I mean, you really threw me into the deep end, and I'm ready to swim.
I did when I said to you, hey, Sir John's coming on next week. You want to do it? Oh, yeah. All right. Let's do it. Don't rush. All right. Don't run away. All right. Let's do the daily hour news break. And then again, we'll bring Sir John on after the commercial break for a conversation this morning. All right, this is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, let me just refresh real quickly, because information has changed, but Bermuda, please pay close attention as hurricane now, Ernesto is considered a threat to the island. And this is the advisory as of 6 a.m. Thursday, August 15th. All right, so at this time, the closest point of approach to Bermuda within 72 hours or 3 days is forecast to be 33 nautical miles to the west at 1 p.m. on Saturday, August 17th, 2024. However, the system may move closer to Bermuda after this time period, depending on its track. All right, so audience, please, visit the EMO website, the government website, listen to the radio station. Prepare. Don't take it for granted. Don't get caught off guard. There's enough information. We'll do our best to keep you updated on our social media channels if we have information that we can use to assist. But that's your daily hour news break. That this hurricane Ernesto is going to be these 33 nautical miles west as of 1 p.m. On Saturday, and that's the latest update as of 6 a.m. this morning. All right, Teray, do you have any daily inspiration for us? Not daily inspiration, sorry. Days of the year. Woo.
Days of the year. It's actually, I think our audience is going to love this one because it's National Lemon Meringue Pie Day.
I used to like that as a child.
You don't like it now? That's a sophisticated taste for a child. Lemon meringue pie. I feel like children are like apple pie.
No, Nana used to always bring the sweets, boy. One day, Nana gave me a sweet tooth. But see, as an adult, I do less dairy desserts. I would ask, for some sorbet or that, flourless, or make sure it's that chocolate cake that anybody could eat. I'm like that.
Okay, well, this one's for young Jamel then, because it's National Lemon Meringue Day.
See, Karen Simmons says she loves it. It's the best pie for me.
It's a good day for you. You got to pick one up.
All right. People are sending questions for Sir John already. Michelle, she loves lemon. She. There you go. You all in it. Suzette, look what you started.
I knew it was going to be a hit. I knew Bermudians were going to love it.
You know what, folks? If she messed up your diet, it was Teray, not Jamel. Teray. All right.
Yes. You deserve it. You deserve to eat food that makes you feel good. So yes, please have a lemon meringue pie slice and blame it on me. It's okay.
Hey, look, you heard her, folks. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with Sir John immediately following this break. So stick with us. Questions are coming through for Sir John already, but keep your questions coming. We'll get through as many questions as possible. Sir John always makes enough time for all of us. All right, 1 minute, 57 seconds. We'll see you right back here.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paws dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Teray Tall, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Do it right now. Just go to thedailyhour.com, put your email address in, and you are good to go. We have not sent an email all year, I don't think, but there's a reason for that. We will be having our 1000th episode very soon. And all I'm going to say is sometimes things come in thousands. Make sure we don't want to hear any excuses as to you didn't receive an email. If you're not sure, subscribe today. Like I said, sometimes good things come in thousands. That sounds good, right, Teray?
That sounds awesome.
All right, folks. Make sure you follow us and engage with us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on and help us grow beyond this mic, that mic, and all of our mics so that we can continue to do our part to improve the community. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest this morning. We've got Sir John Swan, former Premier of Bermuda, national hero, and most recently an independent political candidate in C10. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. All right, calm down. Sir, how are you?
Wonderful, really, feel really good.
We're happy to have you here. Have you met Ms. Toll before?
I think I've seen him, but I don't think we've formally met.
We haven't formally met, but nice to meet you, as they say.
Okay. All right.
Well, Sir John, I'm going to put her under pressure. I love to put people on the spot. That's how I grew up, like that. But she is, as someone said earlier, one of Bermuda's future leaders. So someone who appreciates your journey and your steps in the political space. So go easy on her today, okay?
She should go easy on me.
No worries. But first off, thanks for always making time for us, Sir John. And we appreciate you for all you've done for Bermuda. And crazy enough, I mean, you're still going. You're still going. And I think a lot of people still want to know, we've seen you in the news a lot lately, but Sir John's a good businessman. A lot of people at 89 years old, they're had good lives in business, politics, made their contribution. They just want to enjoy life doing nothing. Sir John's the total opposite. Sir John wants to keep contributing as long as he has a pulse to do so. But why did you make the decision to return to politics as an independent candidate over creating a political party?
Well, when you look at Bermuda, a small place, roughly 60,000 people. The local population about 50,000 people. But we're most densely populated at about 3,000 people per square mile. And when I look at the way Bermuda has evolved, it evolved from really an apartheid environment. And we fought very hard to get rid of political apartheid, got rid of social apartheid. But what I saw creep into Bermuda under a PLP government, and I think the ancestors to this government, the Lois Brown Evanses, Gilbert Darrells, and many others, who fought so hard for those removal of those things, and various people, various organizations that fought hard. Mm-hmm. I've seen the government allow economic apartheid to creep back into Bermuda. That is, when a people are deprived of the really standard of living that they should enjoy, and because of the resources that are available to them, and those resources are not appropriately allocated for the benefit of the people, particularly local Bermudians, who are not as educated or maybe not as fortunate to have the means, that they should be pushed either out of Bermuda or really pushed really under Bermuda by the conditions they had to live in. And as I went around the country, I saw more and more of this. Then I saw the crime rate go up and continue to rise. I saw people doing silly things. And that made me say one thing, that if this thing continues, we're going to end up eventually chasing business out of Bermuda. And what we have to realize is that the world is moving on. AI is here, and it's going to change a lot of things, and we have to be prepared for it. And I don't think we're preparing ourselves for it. We keep talking about cryptocurrency, but we're talking about now a system that is going to emerge in the world, that we're not linked into it, educating our young people to utilize it, and changing from a education system that's a former sort of pure academic approach to a technical, intellectual approach, and being able to bring our young people almost from birth along. We're going to end up with a society that is even further deprived, and maybe a country that loses a lot of its business because it does not really fit, but the Bermuda doesn't fit into what it has, and therefore we rebel against it. I couldn't sit back and see the whole erosion of our society occurring and not really get involved and try to do something about it. What was the answer?
So, John, you mentioned a number of things just now. Chasing business out of Bermuda, the crime, pretty much a number of things. But of those issues, what stood out? Like, was there one thing that you said, you know what? This is my biggest issue with party politics at this time. What was that issue?
It is an entrenched attitude that we're in charge. We make some decisions, and we have to embrace them. It is an arbitrary process. It did not enjoin the people that are affected by their decisions to understand why they were making those decisions. And it was just more or less arbitrary, and people got very frustrated. That's why you've heard this anti-party process take place. And I don't care whether it's PLP or OBA or any other party. They want people accountable to them. The public says, educate me, tell me what I need to do that I'm going to benefit from it, let me participate, and give me my rightful share of what Bermuda has to offer. And I didn't see that happening to the very people that have struggled to make Bermuda what it is: pensioners, young people, middle working class people. And so I saw a Bermuda emerging that you had almost three Bermudas. You had the very wealthy, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Then you had people who came to Bermuda, got jobs, got PRCs, can buy houses, and can live a really great life. You don't believe me? Go to restaurants, go to the beaches, and so forth. But I know there's a lot of Bermudians, because I know the parents and the families who are suffering, and they're unduly suffering, while the international business takes over all of Bermuda, both the international business that came in under the treaty with the insurance, but now all our companies, Argus, Fire Marine, the accounting firms, the law firms, what do we have? We have two major commercial businesses in Bermuda. That's it. They're black owned, which is Brown & Co. and People's Pharmacy. That wasn't Bermuda of yesterday. And you had a government that's allowed that process to just completely go. When Larry Birchman and I fought against Belco being taken over, the government wouldn't listen to us. And no, with the regulatory authority, we spent a lot of time, a lot of working hours, a lot of printing and writing, trying to point out it was a big mistake. Now we know it was a big mistake, but nobody's prepared to admit it. So, and now I see the consolidation of Argus and BF&M, another sort of, become a foreign entity that does business in Bermuda. The Bermudians get affected by it, but that now is an international company. It's no longer, it's like the banks. So I want to find out what's in this thing for Bermudians. That's and independent members, where you can't get around the Constitution. You have to follow the order of the Constitution by having a government, having a cabinet. But you have committees under those that embrace everybody. And you get people more involved and get people understand what's taking place and start evolving policies that are going to protect the Bermudian instead of having actions that allow the foreigners just to take complete control of Bermuda. That's not what we intended, and that's what I insist. That's why I said political apartheid, social apartheid has been pretty well dealt with. But economic apartheid now has emerged as an ugly, ugly state of affairs.
I'm not quite sure, Sir John, that anyone who's tuned in listens and watches what you just said. If they love Bermuda, I'm not quite sure how they could disagree with what you said.
They love they love Bermuda is one thing. It's a beautiful place. You stay in your own house, have a nice TV and nice food, and you pay your bills. You love Bermuda. But the question is, do we love the people that need us the most? That's what I do.
Yeah, and I think you said it very directly. And someone, I have a business person in Bermuda, owner of a prominent business, that often reminds me, and the quote's just like this: keep in mind that all of what we're complaining about the Belcos and the mergers and the foreign-owned entities, keep in mind, and quote, this is a quote right here, folks, this is all happening under a PLP government. And so when you mentioned the ancestors of the party, I'm not quite sure this is what they intended when they thought about and connected the struggle of Black Bermudians back then. But let's get to the political stuff, Sir John. So you ended up throwing your head in the ring officially in C10, which was made possible by the resignation of former Premier, the Honorable Michael Dunkley. Some people thought that you were going to win it, right? And then there were others that were shocked that you came a strong second, beating out the PLP candidate. But what were the positives for you? What's the biggest takeaways for you from that experience?
It was what I was hearing. People want change. People are not satisfied with the PLP. They don't want to vote for the OBA, but they want to see something that's different, that they feel as though they can participate more in and have more, where it's more transparent. And there's a level of honest dialogue taking place. And so I ran as an independent member to say, really, there is an alternative. And I'm prepared to stick my neck out the limb, even at my age, because I think that if somebody doesn't stand up, and if others don't stand up, then we're going to have a Bermuda as we have it now, and business as usual. And guess what's going to happen? One of these days, it was like when I said, we ultimately will destroy the young Black males, and I was criticized for it back in the 90s very heavily. Well, effectively, the males I was talking about are the people we're talking about now. They are no better off, except the worse off. Some of them are, because they're at casemates or West End Correction Center, or they are sick and so forth. And so, if you don't see the writing on the wall, you've missed the point, saying that if you can say the future's okay, then fine, I glory in your spirit. If you're happy, that's good. But I suspect there are a lot of unhappy, and that's what I was hearing, a lot of unhappy people. And I think that was manifest by the turnout when the PLP came third. The OBA, with the help of Mr. Dunkley, was able to elect Mr. King, because Dunkley was the former member represented down there. I had a month to prepare myself for a by-election and lost by 12 votes. All that said is people were looking for a change. They didn't quite understand what they probably will understand closer towards the next election. But at the end of the day, this is not about me. I'm secure in my business. I'm happy. I've got my health. This is about you. This is about what type of Bermuda do you want? And I don't have all the answers. There's no fixed plan. But even if we were successful and be able to get the majority position, we still have to follow the Constitution. Now, if we want to have a constitutional conference and change some of the makeup, that comes later on, or if you want to take and do things. But the basic principle is independent members accountable to their constituents, in touch with their constituents, and they will have meetings, and there will be committees that will embrace not only the local members of the constituency and the civil servants who are left out of the mix, except until what the decisions of the party has decided, but also the international people who really count for about 90% of our GDP in terms of dollars, US dollars being brought to Bermuda. They should understand and participate in what's going on. So we should be much more inclusive in the process of trying to evolve a new Bermuda that involves everybody, black, white, rich, and poor, foreign, locals, because we've got some insurmountable, almost insurmountable problems to solve, like the debt, refunding the pension funds, getting the hospital out of the state that it's in, restoring our infrastructure, making sure that there's a practical and a affordable healthcare system. We need a lot of help. I see the Bermuda College has just hired somebody from overseas, because obviously they weren't able to find somebody that was local. So, we do that little bits, but now we got to do a much bigger bit. Doesn't mean that we should give away the shop because we asked for help. But what we've been doing is we've been giving away the shop and the tools that made Bermuda what it is without getting any benefits from it. Show me where are the benefits. The GDP, when I left office, was about $6 billion. When you look at it today, was I think 95 was 6.5, $6.6 billion. You look at today, it's about $6.2 billion. So we have just been treading water. There's been no real, we got growth in tourism, growth in this and growth in that. But when you look at the data tells us we have just been treading water, hoping somehow or the other somebody will rescue us. But nobody's going to come to our rescue. Every country in the world today is trying to rescue itself. So that's why I got involved. I just couldn't sit back and say, okay, I'm fine. I'm comfortable. I'm old. And therefore I should close my tent and just move on. It's not how old you are. It's not the time that you have left. It's the time, it's what you do with the time you have left. And I want to do something as best I can. Doesn't mean that I believe that this thing will work. I believe that Bermudians will come to a realization that we have one moment in history, and that moment is now.
We are getting a lot of questions and comments from the audience, so we definitely want to engage with the audience in a bit. So we'll do our best to get through to all of you. But Teray, go ahead. I know you had some questions as well.
Yeah. So John, I'm really curious. I heard you say that the response from Bermuda has been really positive and uplifting. And I'm a part of a group called Bermuda Youth Connect. So I'm curious about how young people especially have responded to your re-entrance into politics.
Well, we've got a very good support from young people. We need more of it. We're talking to a lot of them. Some of them are talking about running as independent members. So there is an encouragement in the process, but we still need more. I mean, I'm not kidding. We've got a number of people. We'd like to run the whole 36 seats in the process. So, and I think we can reach that goal. It's not going to be easy. People live out of fear in Bermuda. White people live out of fear of not getting involved because when they say something and somebody accused of being a racist, they just shut up. So there's a big fear of that. And they run the business, own the business, or partners in the business, and they worry about how that affects it. But they need to step up too. In the black community, most of them are employees. and their employees happen to be white, most of them, and they don't encourage their people to get involved because they get work permits and they fear about this work permit. This work permit thing is a monster out there because everybody fears that if I do something against the government, I might get affected by some action they might take that affects me. I don't think that's the case, but the fact of the matter is, in their minds, that is the case. And then they have some prejudice, latent prejudice out there, and people feel as though that, and that's on both sides, by the way, that you know, I don't owe anything to anybody. I just owe it to myself, to go back myself, either have my house abroad or my vacations, and don't want to sort of get involved with solving other people's problems. And that's okay. But I hope that young people realize the fact that if they want to live in this country in 20, 30 years from now, they should now make that country. This is a moment in history. This is our hour. That if we don't rise at this hour and make a formidable statement about where Bermuda direction should be, I think that we will live in infamy or regret because it will be taken over, people will be pushed out, and people will continue to live what I consider to be in poverty, can't find nowhere to rent, health issues, major not being looked after, and putting food on their table is uncomfortable. But there are ways in which we can solve some of these problems. But you know, we've taken the easy route, now it's time to take the hard route. So how many people are prepared to stand up and be a part of that process? It's not going to change my life. I'm old. Change your life if you're young.
Yeah, it's right.
So suppose that we do rise to the occasion. Can you tell us what a Bermuda who's run by independent candidates would look like? Like suppose that you do have great success and you field 36 independent members, and suppose you all win. What would a Bermuda look like being led by independent members?
First of all, you would not have a central committee telling you what to do and what not to do, fighting caucus and so forth. What you would have then, the caucus will be in with the people and committees outside the constituency, discussing things that affect them. Like for instance, things that happen in West End of the island, there will be committees for that West End, things that happen in the East End, and then there will be committees for the Central. You would have a system by which, and each one of those would include other people and ministers and civil servants involved with some of the discussions that take place so that everybody feels as though they're participating and making collective decisions. It will be by a consensus process. When it comes to if you won, you have to follow the Constitution, which means the fact you've got to form a cabinet. You got to pick the people that won will pick the leader, whoever that is. It doesn't have to be me, it will be somebody else. It's not about me, this is about Bermuda. And whatever person they think is appropriate for the leader, it's fine. They pick a leader. The leader then picks a cabinet, just like you do now. But instead of the leader, we would encourage the leader to get the ministers involved with what's taking place in the community. And so that the feed up from the community becomes part of the decision-making process, as opposed in isolation. The Central Committee has a view on what should or shouldn't be. The government has a view, and as long as they close ranks on the majority, the decision is made and they take it to Parliament. So it will be a lot more work. But I think at the same time, I think we'll start to educate Bermudians, get more people involved with the decision-making process. It has to be transparent. It has to be where people have confidence that it's going to be honest. And so we will have a system by which things are better monitored and more data is made available to the public to speak, because in our terms of reference is we remove the bias and the benefits that people perceive, at least, might accrue to people in position of power. That becomes no. As you know, when I was premier, no one said to me that John Swan took. If they did, you've been out by now. John Swan took anything. When I was Minister of Home Affairs, they used to say, "Well, you can't buy it." I've always believed in a very honest approach. and I'm encouraged. Now, this is up to the members to get elected. All I'm doing is helping to facilitate independent members running. They will form their own process. So people get the idea that this is being done. This is not about me. I won't be doing it myself. This is a collective process that takes place and avoids that polarization that you see happening with party politics. Because the premier becomes one amongst equals, and his job will be very well defined in terms of being a representative of the people and communicating with the people, and at the same time ensuring that an agenda that's orderly is conducted. There's nothing, people can run around trying to concoct this and trying to concoct that as though that everything should be put on the table. We can't put something on the table until after the election, because it's not a party system. If we had a party, we'd have a party system and everything else, and we'd say this is what the party's going to do. These are the individuals that will, once they form a formidable group as to running and agree to cooperate with each other. That's the first thing they should do. Then it's a question of them deciding for it and what best for Bermuda. And that's why we've got the spectrum from. And by the way, I will be running. Only for one reason. If I ask somebody to do something, I can't sit on the sideline and say, you do, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But we have people from my age all the way down to the early 20s. So, and we want to get more and more young people involved with this process, because what we want to do then is to run Bermuda. We don't need old people running Bermuda, but we need old people who have some experience to help them to get to it. But at the end of the day, we should have old young people who have done something with their lives, worked, got jobs, have some professionalism about them, so that we really end up with a much better level of intellect and a much better level of knowing and interrelating with the community itself. And that's why it's important for young people to come forward. If you don't take the leap of faith, fate will deal a very, very hurtful blow to you. Because when you want to do it, it will be too late. This is the moment that everybody in Bermuda is saying, we don't trust party politics anymore.
Yeah.
What they're saying is we want change. But it's up to you, the voter, whether you're black or white or rich or poor, PLP or OBA, if you just simply polarize behind your party, thinking, well, I did this the last 20, 30 years, and I'll just do it because it's just the way to do things. If it's business as usual, I think we will feel the consequence. Because what we're saying is PLP, OBA, I don't think can win. So you're saying that PLP, you're staying in with all your perceived warts and perceived conditions, or we're just going to put up with you because, and you have to put up with them then because you gave the voter a chance and the voter didn't exercise that chance.
Got it.
So what can we expect from independents? Can we expect a very specific ideology, or do you expect that they'll come in and be in fixer mode?
What do I expect of independents? Young people?
As voters. So like, suppose the voters do want to endorse an independent. Would they be endorsing a specific ideology, like a libertarian ideology, a progressive ideology, or are you and the independents framing yourselves as a fixer?
What we need in Bermuda is Bermudian ideology. What are you doing? 50% of the population is black, 50% of the population is white, 50% of the population is quite well off, 50% of the population is not so well off. We're a small island, isolated. We can't keep buying these international or big countries' philosophies and ideas and think, well, it should work in Bermuda all the time. We have 122 nationalities, and we have the most integrated per capita in terms of marriages in the world. So you can sort of take that and take the template out of America or take the template out of England and think it's going to work in Bermuda. And that's part of the problem is, we need to create our own templates about how we're going to address the issues of Bermuda. And they're not insurmountable. They're not like we are. In some ways, we're way ahead of the process because we've educated our people on a per capita basis better. In terms, particularly if you look at North America, we have our people get a lot more exposure. They travel, they see things, they have experiences. They've got probably more disposable income on a per capita basis than America or England. So we're not behind the 8 ball as they are, and we get on quite well together. It's just every now and then we have a big hiccup. Or we use tools of the past in the present, and race is one of them, both sides. And we've got to try to use reason, honesty, good relationships. And I think that by building a government that produces the confidence in people, only the people of Bermuda will solve these problems. Not any government can solve these problems. The government's got to start listening to the people and follow some of the ideas that people have, because it's the people's business we're supposed to be about.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Sir John. I want to go to the audience real quickly. Shamari Talbot Orridge, she says, you would think Sir John has no self-reflection on how he contributed to the current state of Bermuda or the economic apartheid he talks of that thrived during his 13-year tenure as premier. He is the king of entrenched party politics. And he goes on to say, come on, John Swan, be honest with the people, form a group, it's a party, just be honest, it's a party. With all that he said, what do you say to that in terms of your contribution to the current state of Bermuda, but also that independent candidates are still just a party?
Well, first of all, let me say that maybe I did contribute unknowingly. I never intended to contribute. I tried to build this country up, and maybe that might have been a mistake to get the treaty done and get things done, building infrastructure that nobody's been able to match, and to try to improve people's lives, housing, which was in a bad state, push to make sure some social changes occurred, to make sure that the country, I said did away with social apartheid. I think people, want to reference what's convenient for them as opposed to referencing what are the facts. That's the matter is. I've been around for a long time, trying to do my best for Bermuda and Bermudians. I might not necessarily belong to the party that you represented for, ideas that you represented for, but I've always tried to do things in the right way as best I can. The other question was, what was the other question?
It was just saying, speaking about a group of independents, it's just a political party, basically. He's saying.
You can put a tag on anything. It's easy to tag something. All we said is it's not going to be dictated to by a central committee. It's not going to have a central committee. It's going to have a committee of the people, by the people, so that it can be full of people. The difference is we're going to manage from the bottom up as opposed to top down. That's the difference. Now, if you want to label that a party, go ahead and label the party. I can't stop you from labeling something. All I'm saying to you is we're not following the traditional method that's been practiced because it's not working. It hasn't worked. We're in a kind of a state right now. Take a look at your real true debt. It's probably about $6 billion. On a $60 billion economy, or $6 billion economy. And then you look at the private sector debt. So you're talking about running up $10 billion, maybe more, $11 billion worth of debt. And all your debts are in US dollars and not in Bermuda dollars. So you're going to earn all that extra money to pay it off. So you can call a party, what I'm saying is we need to have a system by which, in the process of trying to pay off the debt, is look after our people and don't keep just running the debt up more and more. And that means you got to have some economic activity that is beneficial to Bermudians in terms of making sure that the government affairs that look after people are well serviced and provided for. And we haven't done that. We've given away the shop and we've got nothing to show for it.
All right. We've got another question. Charles A. Shuffs II. He's asking, does Sir John think we will ever see a coalition government in Bermuda? The closest we had was in 2012 with the speaker from the opposition. How can we move away from parties thinking they have all the good ideas?
Well, I mean, none of us have all the good ideas. But some people have some of the ideas, other people have some of the other ideas. Some people have some bad ideas, some people have some good ideas. As a rulers in our said, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool other people all the time. I think what we have to do is have transparency enough that the public would be a judge of what we're doing, and that the public will hold us accountable. The public have no clue who we are now. Can you tell the public, what's the hospital debt? What's the debt? Where's the pension fund? What's the pension fund worth today? Can you tell me a real cost of living index in terms of food supply? People say, 2.5%. When we see in the United States, food supply is up 2, 3, 4%, and in Bermuda, it's still down. There's something just, when I hear these things, it makes me cringe. And when we see companies, and I read the paper every day, and I see companies making a lot of money. But the Bermuda companies, most of them are privately owned, so you don't know what they're earning, whether they're in the supermarket business, the drug business, or water business, the supply or service business. So we don't know what these companies are earning, how much markups they have. You know, they've got a bunch of shareholders that put some money into something, and now they've earned some money, and they keep it all quiet. And we hear a lot of noise, but the information that should be out to the public, because these are the assets of the country that people earn a living from. Why should a few people just get everything and a lot of people be so deprived of what they're rightfully entitled to? Open up the system and make it more transparent, and stop being afraid that if you do that, the business can leave Bermuda. Some might leave, but others might come. But you can't be blackmailed into not looking after your people, and that's exactly what's happening to Bermuda right now.
Indeed. We've got another question. Rashida Godwin, she's asking, please ask Sir John, what has he done over the years to help with the various issues regarding the plight of the young black men in Bermuda?
I've created probably one of the biggest employments for them in terms of, I built 40% of the homes on the island when I was leaving the country with massive projects, massive homes, and so forth. Obviously, when I was not in office, there's a limit as to what I could do, but I was still building. Keep in mind, I built 5 major buildings in the city, 6 major buildings. Renovated one and built 5 major buildings in the city. They created employment. Nobody's building any now. So, and do I help people? Yes. I have a rule. Do I give to charities? The answer is yes. But every charity will tell you, and every individual will tell you, my one rule is, I don't want my giving to be made public. I want to choose who I give to, and that's between the person I'm giving to, because they've come up with a reasonable, logical request. And I have a budget, and if it fits within my budget, I will help them. So I haven't out there looking for accolades. I haven't been to sleep. I've been working, and I could have retired, but basically 35 years ago, or 30 years, 25 years ago, sorry. But no, so what have I done? And I've also read some of the articles that I've written in the paper over the last 20, 25 years, after leaving politics. They're all about the consciousness of Bermuda, all about how we're not loving each other like we used to, how we need to get back to love and remove fear. And that's the big 2 forces out there. There's love which comes from how you feel, and what you do, what you do for yourself, what you do for others. And then there's fear. I won't do this because I'm afraid of getting caught. I'm afraid of offending somebody. I'm afraid that I'm just afraid of my destiny. When you're afraid of your destiny, you can't function as a normal individual. So I removed all my fears. If I had any fears, I would not be, at the moment, talking about the government and the opposition. Because keep in mind, either one of them could affect what I do also. But when you love your people and you love your country, and I've been trying to be an encouragement for young people I go around to, the schools, organizations, and so forth. I don't see publicity for all this. I go because it's the right thing to do. And the amount of people that come to my office looking for help, whether it's people with handicapped children, people with children who are in distress, or families that are in distress. Yeah, I've been a social worker a lot, but I don't have to put my flag up and say I'm a social worker. I'm not looking for charity. I've given myself as a charitable individual, and I will continue to do that.
All right. So, John, how can people who are interested in maybe becoming independent candidates or, working with you on your campaign, how can they get in touch with you if they're interested in getting involved?
I think we're forming an independent. Those people have signed up for forming a committee. But in the meantime, I will be able to pass them on to them. They can get in touch with me at my office, 295-1785, or my private cell phone. Other mine people having it. I mean, I hide nothing. 505-7926. And I will. My assistant will organize for them to meet other members of the group and get involved. And I think people need to get involved. I think this is not a party where you have a structure and you're just turning people over. This is a new movement. This is nothing. And if it works, keep in mind you're going to help the rest of the Commonwealth. All these islands and places. So I'll give a comment as an example. I'm opposed to a member right now, or independence, but they take those off of the agenda. I'm a proponent of getting young people involved, and they need to get involved because they're the ones that are going to see the new dynamics of the new systems that will work in the world, and they have to be a part of the new system. We have to be part of the system. We lost them. We went to sleep. For instance, all the policing that goes on in Bermuda right now should have been 10 years ago electronic. I mean, the computer came along and offers cameras, speed cameras, different types of camera systems, two types of security systems. And we're acting, and we haven't yet. Now we're getting into AI and a different form will take place. We're not there. Oh yeah, by the way, the cameras that we decided we're going to put up that will represent. I'm talking about having, if you don't have the manpower, you use technology. And we don't have the manpower. We should be using a lot more technology. We should have figured out how to take it, put the internet, Wi-Fi, all over Bermuda. What would it cost to Wi-Fi the whole island and put a tax on it? Put a tax that it's paid for. So not just those people who can't afford, those people who can't afford to have all the power of Wi-Fi in their homes, their offices, and those people who can't afford it don't have it. So it's how do you bring the systems up to date? And what these young people will come along and say, by the way, I've been trained in this area, and I want to get there now and make a difference in terms of getting us there. Will we be able to embrace all ideas? The simple answer is no. But at the moment, ideas are not being embraced at all. Tell me the last idea that somebody came out in the public and gave people an idea, and the idea was leave. I went to Belco. I said to Belco, I said, you know, you can't keep pumping that soot in those people's lungs out there, because eventually will change their gene. And if they marry living out there, then they marry somebody who's in Georgia, and they have a child, the gene gets affected, it affects that child that's born. We had that at Pembroke Marsh. The minute I became premier, I stopped the burn. I mean, all the burning used to go on in Pembroke Marsh. It was within 6 months after I became premier. I stopped because I grew up with the smell of that Pembroke Marsh burning. The same thing. And I said to them, I said, the answer is very simple. Couples got property up at Morgan's Point that it didn't sell to the developers. Give it to Belco and say, you take the property. Put a LNG gas plant there. And then we take the plant that's down at the Pembroke plant, put the LNG plant down there. The boat comes in and drops off its LNG in St. George's. It goes up and the LNG up there. So we don't have to pump LNG gas in the island per risk, because it's directly at the plant itself.
That's interesting.
And then they can take out the plant. So with no plants in the central part of the island, and the LNG gas is no threat to anybody, and those areas are isolated. So, you know, I've been working on an idea. I come up with an idea how to solve some of the cause without a causeway storm coming. The causeway problem.
Yeah.
The causeway problem is a big problem for us. We've had a baby bridge down for the last 40 years. But it takes, it's a bridge that was a temporary military bridge. It was our baby bridge was used for temporary purpose. We made it a permanent thing. It worked for us to sort of put pilings along both sides of the causeway. Take all of some of that stuff we've been putting down there, dump down the airport, and put it in Philadelphia afterwards. Create another thing and put marina on both sides of it. And put a small bridge so that the water can flow from one side to the other, which is doing the same thing. It would cost, most of that labor would cost us. The idea, oh, we're going to wait till we put a bridge across, well, it'll never happen. We're talking about spending.
Great ideas. I mean, these are great ideas. But Sir John, just remind people, the last question I asked you, so we got to get out of here. Just remind people how they can get in touch with you.
Well, you can get in touch for the time being, but we'll publish further how you can get in touch. You can, at the moment, get in touch with my office, 295-1785. That's my general office number.
Okay.
You can use my cell phone at 505-7926, or you can email Sir John at swangroup.bm.
All righty.
And we will be putting an ad in the paper as to how the system of being in touch. We're not a party, so we have to get over these hurdles. So, you know, if we were a party, we're not a party. This is, and I think that you'll find that some you'll get to know some of the people that's involved with what we're doing, and you can get in touch with them and say, look, I want to join the meetings. I want to sort of meet with you. This is not a party. This is a group of people that are saying the party system is not working in Bermuda.
Many definitely feel that way. Sean Smith just says, thank you, Sir John, for being a great servant of the people. May the Creator continue to bless you with strength and health.
Thank you, John.
All right, Sir John, we have to run, but another very special conversation, and I just hope that I do hope that people understand the ideas you have.
I can't convince it this morning there's something wrong with our system. Don't forget, 295-1785.
All right, thanks so much, Sir John.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Believe me, it's really been a lovely program, and I hope that I've been some use to the public. And I always try to do my best. I'm no miracle worker. I'm just a guy who just got lucky and takes luck very seriously and tries to do something with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir John Swan, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. We'll give our final thoughts, daily play, and wrap it up. See you in a minute, 51 seconds. Stick with us. Great news. Our Beat the Heat special has been extended through August 31st while supplies last. Keep cool with our further discounted Carrier high-efficiency mini-split units, plus enjoy 10% off Comfort Zone oscillating fans, Comfort Air units 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, and Hunter ceiling fans when you pay with cash. Don't miss out on these hot deals to stay cool.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today on the right policy for you.
Take a look at our walkthrough for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All right. Thanks again to Sir John Swan for the awesome conversation this morning. And thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia episode 4 now available on bcgtv.com. And the card game, hey, talk about hurricane supplies. Make sure you pick up your edition, one of the editions of Bermuda Trivia, the card game, so that you can entertain your family during the lights out, hopefully not for long. But hey, something to do if you lose electricity. All right, Bermuda Trivia. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it is a name that place. A little bit of geography for you today, all right?
Okay.
All right, if someone gets this before Teray, you know what happens. You become eligible for this week's prize. Teray, don't overthink it. What city is the capital of Haiti?
Oh my God, wait, is it Port-au-Prince? I needed you to tell me don't overthink it, because I literally was thinking 7 other things right now, but then I was like, don't overthink it.
You know why I said don't overthink it? Because Sandra will have it in her head and think it's a trick question when it's not. And then when I give her a trick question, the other way. So I said, don't overthink it. Port-au-Prince it is. The capital.
I needed that. Thank you.
You got your boost now. You're ready. You're ready going forward.
Yeah, I finally have a 1. No more zeros for me.
Okay. All right. She wasn't going 007. She was not doing it. She went as far as 002, folks. 002. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the independent candidates first, and then the conversation with Sir John.
It's a lot, Jamel. I don't know. It's a lot. On one hand, there's a part of me that really appreciates Sir John Swan's presence, like the way he shows up. I really admire the fact that anytime he has an opinion, he hosts a press conference. I feel like my generation especially is looking for a leader who feels genuine and feels charismatic and feels like different from what we feel like we have. But I also recognize that there are a lot of people who feel like Sir John Swan is reminiscent of a past that they don't want to go back to. So I'm really conflicted in this. And I know he said he's not running, he's facilitating it, like the independent movements. But I really do appreciate his presence and his reemergence in politics. I remember when he said, I would stand in the election, and if Bermuda wants to support me, let me know. I sent an email and I was like, I support your bid to go back into politics, because I feel like we're at a tipping point in Bermudian politics and just Bermuda generally, where if we don't have some serious change, then we may not be able to go back. So I think it's a lot to take in. I'll have a lot of reflections after this.
Yeah. No, indeed. It's a tough one because, like someone in the comments, I feel like independent candidates still will shift towards some sort of, while there may not be a standard caucus or a standard central committee, in order to get things done as a collective, you're going to have to work together, and there's going to have to be some consensus. So I completely understand the concerns. Also, the problems of today didn't just happen, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where people do have some, issues with Sir John today as well. You were premier, the longest serving premier. A lot of this stuff was born out of that. While I appreciate his response that, at the end of the day, creating economic opportunities for people is a way for them to, do well for themselves. It's much bigger than just business and economics. Social issues are just as important. So I think, no one's perfect. We're not going to get that perfect person. But like you, Teray, I appreciate him making himself out there, putting himself out there, because it is shaking things up. It's keeping, or it should be trying to keep people more honest in terms of reflecting and understanding that, here's a premier that, regardless of who likes him or who doesn't, was one of the most influential leaders we've ever had. But we do have a generation of people who don't know what it was like under Sir John or the United Bermuda Party. Again, but some of those same young people, like myself, we weren't alive when chattel slavery was going on, but we knew it was wrong. We know it contributed to what we have today, generations later. So I understand the frustration that people have, but I also, like you, appreciate Sir John putting his name right back in the hat. I think there's some solutions and resolutions for a lot of the things that we're facing, if we keep going in this direction.
Yeah. And I like that he said, there are a lot of things that I may have contributed to unknowingly and knowingly. And I also want to give some grace here, because in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a very big neoliberal era, in the States, in the UK. So I feel like had Bermuda not done the treaty with the US or developed international business, they would have been left behind. So it's difficult to confront the reality in front of you while also trying to reimagine a future. And I think that's a skill that humans can only do in retrospect. So if anything, I feel like Sir John's response in saying, yes, I did contribute to some of these problems, knowingly, unknowingly. If I went back, I would do it differently. But I'm here now to say I've learned from those mistakes and I kind of want to move forward. And I think that's something that I've been missing in the current political leadership of okay, you know what, I messed up, and I'm gonna move forward with it. And I feel like just that I respect so much more. So I think mostly I'm happy.
Yeah, I think accountability, and some may say, well, it's easy to be accountable when you're not at the helm, but no, I think the lesson is it's always the right time to be accountable. It's always the right time to be accountable. All right. Well, we've come to that time. You got the daily play. We gave our final thoughts. It's time for the daily inspiration.
Okay, this one is going to be, I think this one is really good for the discussion that we had. It's from Seneca, another Stoic philosopher. And it says, if man knows not the direction in which he sails, then no wind can be favorable.
Yeah, he might just go in circles. The wind might take him in circles.
Yeah, yeah, it's you have to know which direction you're going in order for the wind to help you or harm you. If not, then there's nothing that could favor you if you don't know where you're going. And that kind of just relates to what Sir John Swan said, which is you have to follow your fate. You have to follow your fate. So follow your fate, people.
And, he mentioned luck, but you still got to do the work, right? You got to put yourselves in the best position to allow that luck to be favorable for you. All right. But folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, dailyhour.com. Again, great things happen in thousands. So you want to make sure, whether you know or not, if you don't, you're not sure if you're registered on the website, just go do it again. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of the daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Teray Tall. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We is out. Peace.